Hello from Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm Kelly Brown, Director of Product Marketing for EMC's Backup Recovery Systems Division. And the purpose today is to talk you through some findings of a survey that EMC commissioned and was conducted by a third-party researcher called Vance & Bourne. The project was done looking at 250 IT decision makers in South Africa across both public and private sector. And we talked to companies that had a range of 250 to 3,000 employees. The purpose of the survey was to look at the current state of IT preparedness in South Africa, including backup and disaster recovery. But before we look at the findings, I would like to introduce Sumash Singh, who is the sales manager for our Backup Recovery Systems division within South Africa. Sumash?
Thanks, Kelly. EMC Southern Africa is very excited about the results of the 2013 Disaster Recovery Survey. The survey results really acknowledge and reinforces the fact that this type of information has been very rarely available in South Africa.
South Africa is part of a larger survey that we ran across 13 countries between Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. So as we discuss the results, I'll also give you some comparisons. In total, we surveyed 3,000 IT decision makers across the region. So to start with, for South Africa, more than half of organizations in the country have either suffered from data loss or systems downtime. Sumash, I think one of the things that the survey raises is really how we think about a disaster and how we define it.
Absolutely, Kelly. Often people think of a disaster and disaster recovery in the context of something extraordinary. But the reality is, if organizations are preparing for a catastrophic event, they may be overlooking the real problems that are more harder to address within their environments. The survey shows that the leading causes for downtime and disruption in South Africa was loss of power, followed by hardware and software failures within customers' IT environments.
Yeah, and if I look across all 13 countries, it was similar. The top three reasons were similar. But hardware failure, I should say, was the leading cause for disruption, followed by loss of power, and then software failure was third, just as it was in South Africa.
So what this tells me is that we need to be working more closely with our customers to ensure that they are preparing not just for the unexpected, but also for the more routine and mundane IT problems. In my mind, anything that contributes or causes a significant loss of data for a period of time is a disaster for the business.
So the survey also looked at the commercial consequences of disruption.
Well, no surprises here, Kelly. The top response was a loss of employee productivity, but 38% said that they could attribute a loss of revenue, and 32% said they could identify a loss of customer loyalty as a result of the disruption. This is brand erosion.
In all 13 countries, we did see loss of productivity being the top consequence. Now, if we put that into perspective, that's about 32,000 hours lost in a year for a 2,000-person company. But what's interesting is that companies in South Africa reported loss of revenue at a much higher percentage than the overall region.
I hope this will capture organizations' attention. We already feel the challenge to drive top-line revenue growth in tough economic conditions. In fact, looking at the macroeconomic situation and indicators like a decreasing 2013 growth rate from 3% to 2.7% in South Africa, it seems like a simple measure, right? To have your IT systems working for you rather than against you. My hope is that organizations will take a look at the results of this survey and proactively manage their IT information systems more effectively in the future.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that the last bit to look at with regard to the survey is to the confidence level in South Africa.
Right, Kelly. 74% of organizations in South Africa don't really feel confident that they could fully recover from a significant disruption of loss of data.
Yeah, and as a little sidebar, I also note that in the survey, the companies from South Africa, on average, are storing copies of their backup less off-site than the other 13 countries.
Clearly, we need to drive a conversation among South African organizations to review the alignment of their backup and disaster recovery strategies and how this will suit their business objectives. EMC has a network of strategic business partners who work every day with customers, and we can address various challenges around information protection and disaster recovery. EMC's business partners are an extension of the EMC technology community.
You're right, Sumash. There is an opportunity across South Africa and also in the broad region to drive a conversation about backup transformation. So when we think about IT systems, we think about electronic data being critical business assets. I'm just not really sure that companies have really proactively thought through their backup and disaster recovery strategies appropriately. So hopefully you're interested in wanting to learn more. You can review the complete findings of the survey for South Africa and also the other regions on our website.